What up, Doe, Detroit? This is your guy, Darryl Noodles Nolen, and I want to welcome you to Spending Time with Noodles. And I must say, I'm excited about today's show. Why, you ask? Let me tell you why. Here's my answer to that question. I'm in the presence of two amazing Black women. I'm with one woman that she's in the community 10 toes down doing her thing to make life better for folks. And the other Black queen, she's an angel of the community. And that's what makes me feel good about what we're doing here on Spending Time with Noodles, because the concept is simple. Put like-minded people in the room and let's have a conversation. Let's God utilize us as vessels to either plant seeds with some folks that are receptive to it. So I'm going to thank y'all probably a couple of times on the show for accepting my invitation to be here. It means a lot to me. You women being here today, it kind of reminds me of what occurred last year. 92% of Black women got behind Kamala Harris to support her. Unfortunately, we didn't get the results we wanted. But one thing I want to say, you two strong Black women being in this room with me today makes me feel like I'm part of that 92%. So I just wanted to share that. So let's just get into this thing. One thing I believe, Black women are necessary. Black women hold families together. Kind of reminds me of back in the day, some would call them Big Mama or Grandma, or whatever you want to refer to them as. So the late, great Tupac said it himself. You are appreciated. Definitely by this brother here, okay? Definitely appreciate it. So with all that being said, let me do my formal introductions. I have the pleasure of having Tamara Liberty Smith and Miss Tiawanna Rankin in the studio with me. So, Tamara, how you doing today?
Look, I love you for just pronouncing my name correctly.
Oh, trust me, I received a little, tutorial on it to make sure. And that's one thing I try my best to get right, because I know that means a lot to people.
It does.
When I have a blunder, I always say, don't charge it to my heart, charge it to this big old head of mine. You feel me? So with that being said, I'm glad you're feeling good today.
Thank you, sir. Glad to be here.
And like I said, I thank you for accepting my invitation. I got to, of course, do something to give people a little peek behind the curtain. And here's what I mean by that. See, the God we serve is a good God. Gave us some beautiful weather today. We know Michigan has bipolar weather, but it's sunny outside. We're going to plant some seeds today with some folks. And also believe God is going to pour into us what he wants shared. So that's why I always tell my guests, when you spend time with me, just relax. This ain't nothing where you're going to be like a deer in headlights. I don't move that way. So let's get into this thing. I want to, first of all, I got to recognize another brother in arms, Mr. Quincy Smith. Brother Quincy appeared on Spending Time with Noodles on my show yesterday. It aired. I want to encourage those of you that are listening, that are viewing. I want you, of course, to go to my channel on YouTube, subscribe to it. Brother Quincy Smith is doing amazing work in the community. The show was spectacular. I received a phone call from one of my mentors, and he shared with me, and he's never met Quincy. He said, man, that brother brought it. He said, man, that dude is gifted. I said, I know he is. I said, Quincy and I are like-minded. And so I want to encourage you. If you didn't get an opportunity, it's on my channel. Subscribe to Spending Time with Noodles via YouTube. Check out the conversation me and Brother Quincy had. And this is a brother that's doing amazing work into the community. And when you watch the show, you'll see what God has poured into him. It's a gift. So, guess what? Quincy has a wife, correct?
Yeah, he does. A beautiful wife.
Misty Angelique Smith. So guess what? When we talk about the Smiths, we ain't talking about Brad and Angelina Smith, the movie, plus they were married. We talking about Detroit's Smiths. So Misty will be my guest on my show Monday. We did her recording. And when I tell you she is a subject matter expert when it comes to juicing and the nutrition game, I told her, I said, I think what I'm doing relative to juicing is kindergarten. So I'm about to become one of your students so you can elevate me. I'm looking forward to the public seeing her. She did an amazing, amazing, amazing job. And I'm sure you all know her history. So
Misty is a beautiful woman. She looked like I always tell her, a porcelain baby doll because of her diet.
yes,
And she's a phenomenal woman.
that she is. Wouldn't you agree with that, Miss Tiawanna?
Yes, I will.
Well, thank you, ma'am. I appreciate that. I appreciate that participation. The topic we used for the Smith Show, and I think it's important that I mention it, the topic for the Smiths was community wellness. Quincy, of course, covered the topic of senseless gun violence in the city, which is part of the community. It's part of our wellness. Misty, of course, covered another portion of community wellness, our physical temples. What we consume, what we take in. We know as Black folks, if we're going to be honest with each other, we're putting stuff in our bodies that's leading us to our graves much sooner than we need to get there. So when I sat there and I listened to her and she shared her story, and I do a little research on folks. I went online, I said, let me pull her up. And when I saw the Instagram post of her health issue that she was dealing with, and to see her in her current state, nobody can tell me there is no God. There is a God. So with that being said, you know what? I want to dive into this thing, and I want to share before I start chatting with you, Miss Tamara. I just want to share with the folks. Tamara was recognized by the city of Detroit as one of Detroit's 75 most powerful Black leaders in 2025. I salute you for that.
Thank you.
To be recognized by the city of Detroit as a powerful leader, and you're a Black queen, God is good. Tamara is a powerful voice for justice and accountability. Tamara serves as vice chairman of the Detroit Police Commission, where she works to bridge the gap between law enforcement and the community. Focused on police reform, public safety, and community engagement, she has played a key role in advancing for policies that foster transparency, equity, and trust. And we all know that is very, very important. You're a leader. You definitely a leader. I'm picking up your spirit. Also, to add to her bio, her leadership ensures that Detroiters have a voice in shaping the future of policing in the city. Now, this is where we get down to the good part, and I can take a pause for the cause and let the world hear from you. What motivated you or inspired you to do the work that you're doing today?
I had a young lady just ask me last week, tell me your story. How did you get to where you are today? I feel like, why not? Why not take the initiative? When you see things are incorrect in a community that you live in, to take a stance for what you believe in, to walk in integrity and do what's right. And that was always my point, my value of making that dash in between your birth date and your death date, make that dash impactful.
You want the collection plate? You just preached a sermon. But keep it up, keep going. Please continue to share.
Make it impactful.
Okay.
Make your life matter. Be that person that others wanna be like, to inspire someone to, I should have did that. I should have been the voice to speak up. Or I could be the person to make a difference. I just always have been that person. I do realize that as an adult, you are who you were as a child, but as an adult, you're more seasoned. So if you go back and look at your life, like I always say, if you people who are lawyers, most likely when they were a kid, they probably like to argue. They probably thought they knew everything.
Hey, you're right.
They were combative in debating.
Right.
Probably was on the debate team in school. But who I am as an adult is definitely who I was as a child. Always advocating for others. Always wanting to make a difference. Always wanting to see the bright side of things. Always being optimistic and knowing that there is a brighter future and that with me, I can make that difference.
Oh, wow. How long have you been doing this type of work? How long? I'm curious.
Really all my life, huh? But
Okay, all your life.
I
Okay.
realized what it was called. So I'll say, actually in 2015, Malik Shabazz
Okay, Brother Malik, yes.
who is our all-time leader of Detroit,
Yes.
brought me out as a community activist. So I didn't know that I was being an activist or doing activist work because I didn't know what it was called.
Okay.
But as of 2015, I want to say maybe it was around the time Kajavia Globe. She was a woman who was fatally injured, shoved into a garbage can on West 7 Mile by her boyfriend.
Oh, wow.
Had been missing, family hadn't seen her, and he fatally wounded her. And it was during that time, during the search for us and passing out flyers and speaking up for the family, during that time that I decided that this is the work that I really want to be involved in.
Wow, 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 wow. And I know somebody told me don't say that word, but that's got to be who I am, because I love hearing these type of testimonies. And for me, it's a wow moment because I can feel that no doubt you're authentic, you're real, you have passion for what you do. I get it, I understand, but you know what? As I said earlier, being one that I enjoy staying on top of my current events. I happen to be sitting at home, chilling. I can only tolerate so much of the news these days, based on what's happening in the country, I should say. I got to maintain my mental, right? But I actually saw you on the news, and you were being supportive of the mother who unfortunately lost 2 of her babies based on they had to live in their vehicle and they passed away from carbon monoxide poisoning. How did that come about? How did you get connected and get involved to be a part of that solution?
Well, you know what? It's so weird. I want to write a book,
Okay.
and I want to title it "It Finds Me."
Okay.
Oh, wow. That's a great title.
Yes.
Hey.
Yes.
No, literally,
Okay.
It Finds Me. So I'm at police headquarters. I'm racing as usual. I'm locked out of my city email, and I'm trying to hurry up and get upstairs. I'm on the phone. The news has contacted me. I'm passing an officer and passing in the hallway, and they're both telling me at the same time about these children who were just found in a vehicle that passed. But it was really fresh. Nobody knew. But it was like a warpy kind of feeling. Like I went into like a warpy kind of feeling that I knew at that moment that I was going to have these women. I don't know how. I don't know, but I just knew. I just knew. So later on that day, I'm a executive director over a transitional housing facility on the west side of Detroit.
Awesome.
And I asked the other people there, still didn't know, if someone contacts me, the department, with these women, is it okay if they come here? And they said, absolutely. Probably maybe like an hour later, Bishop Darryl Harris, who oversees Fire Detroit, called me. He's like, Tam, I just was contacted by the department for doing emergency housing for the ladies from earlier with the children.
Mm-hmm.
But, I'm going to put them in a hotel, and they're going to check out in the morning. They're homeless. And my other line rings. And it's the department. And I'm like, wait, hold on. And I click over, and they ask, and they sent them to me.
Wow.
But it's like I just knew. And from that point, I just jumped on it. I had a friend who worked at the New McFalls Brothers Funeral Home. We had the funeral arrangement set that night, the release of the bodies. The next day, I went to the medical examiner to help with the family to organize identifying the bodies, to get them picked up. My phenomenal Facebook community of supporters. I had a woman, Tina Michelle, she reached out to me. She bought the clothing for the children to be buried in. Everyone just started coming with their resources. Had someone came and brought a whole bunch of clothing and hygiene items and things over that night for them. Went and bought some things for them to wear the next day. Had a fellow commissioner who reached out, took them to Somerset. And I'm like, Somerset? We don't have to go to Somerset. But took them to Somerset, spent $3,500 on clothing items and shoes and things like that. So everything just started coming together. But in the city that we live in and being in such an open glass state and judgment to be passed because everybody has a voice when you open your life up and place it on social media, a lot of people began to bash her, or a lot of people began to criticize her in her parenting. Nobody is perfect. She did what she knew how to do. Not saying what she did was right or wrong, but she did what she knew how to do. And it's
Absolutely.
us as a community to come to her to correct the things that she did not know how to address them and show her the right way. So,
But as mothers, we will do whatever it takes for our children. And if it is for us to sleep in our car, but she didn't abandon them. And then the most impactful part of that is the mother, the grandmother was right along with her. So those are two strong women, because it hurts as a mother to not to be able to provide for your children, even if it's just lunch money, or even if it's just not the latest shoes that the kids wear. So the community can be vicious,
yeah.
but respectfully, that is a mom. That is truly a mom.
And when you talk to them, because your normal may not be my normal. And
Absolutely.
I can talk to you and you'll look at me and like thinking like, no, that's not how it goes. That's not how I was raised. But they had a close-knit car family. I don't want to say like a close-knit household.
Right, I feel you.
They talk about the car. They talk about, we had the children's car. All the children used to want to be with us in the car. And we'd be everywhere in the car.
Right.
And that's their normal.
Right.
And to children, that might have looked very fun. Because children don't know.
You're right. You're right.
That might have been the time the car pull up, we pulling off, and everybody is in here. We get ready to have a ball.
Okay.
You know, to kids, but that was their normal. That was what they knew how. They didn't abandon each other. And that was just that. So as a community leader, as a community activist, as a mom of 6 children that I have raised, and not always good times, and it's been some difficult times, but I can thank God that that wasn't me. But just because it wasn't me doesn't mean that it could not be me. Because in the
preach, yes,
that we living in, we are all one paycheck away from disaster.
That's right.
Anything can happen.
Yes.
Be that voice, be that power, be that angel, be that vessel that we could help her. Unfortunately, tragedy had to strike for her to be able to get a new vehicle.
Yes.
To be able to allow Detroit Rescue Missions to place her in a comfortable home that they can call home.
Yes.
But her life is forever changed. Her children are no longer with her. And no matter what people see or say or think, that is something that she has always lived with.
Yes.
And unfortunately, being over here at the transitional facility, it's a lot of more people that's living in their cars with children. She's not the only one.
Wow, did not know that.
She's not the only one. People are living in silence. People are struggling in silence. People are struggling.
That part, yes.
They don't want to be judged. They don't want people to talk about them. They don't want to seem like they didn't make it or look lesser than. It's a lot of people that are struggling. A lot of people are afraid to come forth.
Wow. You know what? Hopefully, after we have thousands of folks view this show, that your inspiring words will motivate them to go seek and get the assistance that they need and not feel as though they're going, don't forget all that word about being judged. There's resources out there. There are good people out there like yourself, like Tiawanna.
Even if, I'm sorry, I don't mean to cut you off.
No, you talk. I talk too much. Keep talking.
But even if the resources, because sometimes people don't know, they look for the Google or the numbers that they try to find, or like the CAM situation that we have found to be a broken system.
Okay.
That the city is trying to realize that this system was not where it needs to be, or maybe a little outdated. And we're going to fix things to be where it needs to be in 2025 so that it will be easily accessible for people who are in this situation to be able to come forward and find. But then you have situations like us who are not government funded programs, or maybe we're just popular and we know people that you can't get to. My prayer to God used to be, connect me with the people who know the people who I ordinarily wouldn't be able to connect to on my own. Be that person to be able to network, to be able to talk, to be able to be that walking resource. And because of who we are and what we do, we're able to give you those additional resources that may be outside of the government funded programs, or just somebody who may have a home that they have an extra bedroom that they don't mind renting to you, or they don't want to stay in a home by themselves, or they have extra food, or maybe they're a mom like me who doesn't know how to cook normal meals because I'm used to cooking for a household of 7.
Right. Right.
Come on, I always got something to eat. Come over and get you a plate.
Right. Absolutely.
Those type of things. And we just need to be that network. We need to be that neighborhood in that village. We need to remind ourselves of the village. They always talk about the village, but be a part of the village. Be familiar with the village so you can be the village to help those in the village.
Amen. Is the church over? I mean, but no. I'm going to ask you a question, because I always ask my guests this question. What side of town you grew up on?
Oh, Detroit West Side all day.
Oh, well, you're West Side. Come on. What high school did you rep?
Henry Ford High School.
I'm sorry. You had to go to Henry Ford.
Oh, we are Trojans, brown and gold.
I say this on each of my shows with my Detroiters. When they tell me what high school they went to, I said, I was rolling with Eddie Murphy. When Beverly Hills Cop was, getting ready to be filmed, this, that, and the third. And I say, he did 100 miles an hour past Henry Ford High School. So let me get over to that sweet powder blue and burgundy school called Mumford Phys Ed. I'm a West Sider, so I repped Mumford Who Dats. Yes, indeed.
William Murphy, who is a famous gospel singer.
Yes.
He's a famous bishop in Atlanta, Georgia.
Yes.
Also graduated from Henry Ford High School. He's a Detroiter. That's right.
I did not know that.
Just so I'll let you know.
Okay. You let me know. So, some prominent folks came out of here.
Kind of prominent gratitude over here.
Okay, I feel you. No, with all the work that you do and how you're there for others, what do you do to recharge?
That's an amazing question. I need to figure that out myself. I'm learning to do that.
Let me pause you for 1 second. The reason why I asked that question, and I'll be brief on my comment because it's about you right now. Okay. I served 24 years in UAW leadership. And so I started from the bottom, from the ground floor, made it all the way downtown. God had his hands on me. So my 24 years was always about taking care of everybody else. And I neglected me. I blew up to 300 pounds in the year 2018. I was taking on all that stress. God said, son, it's time to retire in 20. Then he said it's time to make a personal decision in 21 by moving on from the situation that I was in. I'm going to leave it at that to be respectful. You give of yourself so much. And I know you said in tons of meetings where we talk about, mental health is real. It's important. How does Tamara get reset? What do you do?
I do a lot of praying, a lot of talking to God. A lot of times I feel, this is...
Take your time. Take your time, man. Take your time.
A lot of times I feel unappreciated.
Isn't it amazing how God used me to say earlier, the late, great Tupac said, you are appreciated. Remember I said that early on in the show, and you just said, I feel unappreciated. And you know what? I feel your pain on that one. Trust me.
Yeah. But I know that there is a God. I know as long as I do his work, it is through him. It's through him that I'll always be blessed. I know that a giver will always have. I know.
Amen to that. I like that saying. I'm going to have to use that one. You might see that on the t-shirts.
I know. I'm telling you, I know as long as I give, as long as my heart is pure, as long as I'm doing it without any malicious tactics behind it.
Correct.
And that God knows who I am because he made me. He knows what I can handle. Because if it wasn't for me, if it wasn't for him working through me, I wouldn't be who I am. And I wouldn't be able to do what I do.
Way to put that exclamation point on. I felt that one. Ooh, here's what I encourage you to do. Marinate on it. Pray on it. One of the things that I purposely, and I'm intentional about it, as I improve my relationship with God, I get away. I get away from the noise. I travel. I get on a plane by myself. I go somewhere by myself. I was heavily involved in the church. I used to be a deacon in a church. And I understand God's word, okay? God does his best work on you when he isolates you. Because, see, we always hear that calm voice. God, don't yell. So if I'm around noise, how can I hear from him? So God just put it on my heart to share with you, to say maybe get away and let me pour something into you to strengthen you. Because you're a leader. You out here grinding in these streets. You're a community angel, just like the angel sitting next to you.
Thank you.
And I just want to, that's God using me to say that to you. Because you got to do it if you want to stay in the game. And I know you do, because you ain't a quitter, girl. You done too much. But God says, I got more in store for you. But you got to come see me by yourself. So, that being said, keeping it moving. So the city of Detroit, of course, has a new chief of police. Brother Chief Todd Bettison. Prior to him assuming that position, I did a little research. Like I said, I always like to research, right? When he was deputy mayor for the city, I read an article where he stated he was proud that he was able to get Detroit police officers historic raises. And also, one of his proudest moments was putting together community violence intervention plan programs. Now, as vice chairman of the Detroit Police Commission, are you excited to work with the new chief? And if possible, please share with us why.
I absolutely love the new chief. The new chief is not new to our city. He is an invested stakeholder of the city. He's well known by all. The CVI groups, he had a very instrumental part in putting that together. I knew him far beyond before he ever became a chief, before he was a deputy chief. Well invested in this city. Because of Todd Bettison is the reason that I am on the Board of Police Commission.
Oh, wow. Okay.
He came and told me, because of a previous commissioner who had got into some type of scandal and had to resign, how many people were advocating for me to be in that position. The community activists, the residents, the people wanted Tamara to be in that. And he told me, I think you should apply. And I'm like, really, you think? And he gave me all of the things that he thought of me. He said, Tamara, every time you've ever called me, you've never called me for anything on your own. You've never asked me for anything. You always ask for others. You're always concerned of others. You always are working for others. The community believes in you. And we know that you will be a great voice. And I gave it a try. And I said, well, I'm gonna do it. And I went against other people who applied, and I was chosen, and I was appointed.
What's for you, God has for you and for you.
What's for you is for you, and no man can take it away.
That part. That part.
So I'm excited for him. I told him I'm so proud, even in his behalf, leaving the department, being the deputy mayor, and being back with the department and being appointed by the mayor and doing what he loved to do, because he was an officer.
Yes, I read that. I read his credentials. Absolutely. Yes.
He was an officer who was loved by the community, who was a community-based driven man. He rolls his sleeves up and he'll get out there right with the community. Even as a chief, he's still reachable. He's not a person that's arrogant or you snooty. He's still that man that he's still reachable. I had one of our senior mothers who comes to our meetings every week in the Board of Police Commission meetings, Mother Bernice. And she bragged at the last meeting about how she wanted to go to, I want to say it was a funeral for a former officer. And she needed a ride. And the chief was going to send an Uber to her. And she said she didn't want to get in the Uber. She didn't want to, but they were going to send a car. And she said she got ready. They told her the car was going to be there at such and such time. She came down, got a walker, and they assisted her and came out. And they opened the door, and she said, "Look who I saw sitting there, the chief."
Oh, praise God. Wow, that's what's up.
So they went and picked her up personally for the
Yes.
And it was
what's
like,
up.
she was so proud. And I want to say Mother Bernice is maybe 92, 93 years old. She's a elder senior in our community, does not miss a meeting at every event known by the city leaders, officials, and that's a well-respected moment.
Let me tell you something. I love hearing stories. One thing my mom, I mean, I tell folks I'm like a Tupac kid. Mama raised me and my sister, and that's why the song Dear Mama is so important to me. And I tell everybody, my mom wasn't no crackhead though, okay? We started on welfare, Like you said, you mentioned something earlier, when you're younger, you don't realize your current predicament, but then as you get older, you're like, man, I didn't realize we were on welfare.
Yeah.
Mama provided the best she could. You feel me? Ooh, to hear that and what she poured on me, this is where God said, you got to drop the gem that I planted on you, son. Don't forget to do that. My mother always said to me, yes, you respect everyone, but more so respect those that have been where you're trying to go. That story you just shared about this mother, call her mother, what's her name again?
Mother Bernice.
Mother Bernice.
Bernice Smith.
Miss Mother Bernice Smith, 92 years old. I have no excuse as to why I'm on the sidelines. That's why I committed to Quincy. I said, bro, I'm about to get on your team with you. And Noodles' word is good. And this leads me to my next segue, because we got to talk to this other angel next to you here in a few minutes.
Over here sitting quiet.
So when it comes to community violence intervention programs, I must first say I give kudos to the many organizations that are out there doing that work, trying to make things better in the city. I mean, and I know some of the guys that are doing the work personally. I don't want to mention names because I don't want somebody saying, why you ain't mention my name, Anywho, so here's my question. Has the thought, or maybe it's being done and maybe I'm just not in the loop, but can more progress be made if the leaders of the many community violence intervention groups came together, held a summit to strategize and work with the police department, police commissioners, and a select group of church leaders who are not ego-driven to have a greater impact in the city of Detroit relative to gun violence? Before you answer that question, I believe in research and, data, right? Men lie, women lie, numbers don't lie. And because I stay on top of, what's happening around me, Detroit Partnerships resulted in another historic drop in violent crimes in 2024. Fewer homicides since 1966, 65. I was born in 66. And also shootings have decreased along with carjackings plummeted. So back to my question. Yes, progress is being made, but can more be done relative to the community violence intervention groups? Is there is anybody because one thing I believe, when people are working in different silos, which is great because some people live on one side of town, others live on the others. But if we hold a summit, right, and we all come out with the same message because we're strategizing, we're meeting, maybe we can have a greater impact. Are some of discussions like that being had, within some of these groups? I'm curious.
Well, what you didn't mention, I'm a dual role player.
Okay.
So not only am I the vice chair of the Board of Police Commissioners, I also am a community engagement specialist with Ceasefire Detroit.
Okay.
So Ceasefire is one of the original CVI groups. Before the initiative came of the other groups starting in the different districts throughout the city, Ceasefire was a citywide CVI group.
Gotcha. Okay.
Okay. So we're all attacking against gun violence. With Ceasefire, we are in partnership with the Detroit Police Department. So other ones have different initiatives. We have different as models, as they will call them.
Okay.
This model may be no law enforcement. We just deal with our own community, our own resources, different things that we don't directly deal with law enforcement. So it's different models for different different.
That's understandable.
So I do know with each of the CVI groups that we have, they do communicate with each other because you do have to cross-reference.
Good.
So in the event that we may have a situation on the west side with someone on the east side, well, the gangs now are not just east and west. They're all everywhere. They live everywhere. They're in all little groups and silos together. And gun violence and swapping guns and selling guns amongst each other and all of this, the ops and stuff. So you have to have communication. We wouldn't be able to work or having a historically low rate of crime and gun violence if we did not work together to combat it. You have to. You can't, I mean, my team against yours, it won't work like that. We have to communicate with each other. Far as do we have everyone to buy in, other leaders or churches or community leaders? That's something that we can work on to keep pushing the initiative, keep showing what we're doing, keep driving the violence in our community down, showing what we're doing is working. The engagement is working.
Yes.
Because we are engaged. Engagement. And when you go into a suburban neighborhood, I noticed I used to be a pharmaceutical delivery driver some years ago in a suburban neighborhood downriver. And they are engaged.
Okay.
If I'm up at your door, the neighbor a couple houses down is asking, "Excuse me, can I help you?"
Oh, wow.
"Oh, I'm just dropping a package off, but can I help you?" I don't. They're engaged.
Right.
It's not, "Oh, I didn't see it. I don't know. Get over here. Get
Right.
Stay out their business." An engaged community, always, in my opinion, is a safer community. You have to be engaged. And what I can say about the new Detroit is more engaged than ever.
Okay.
People are not sitting on the sideline.
Okay.
People are not content with being quiet and allowing
I agree.
anything to happen. And you're not saying, not on my watch, not on my block.
Right.
If I see it, I'm speaking up. And and of course, crime is going to happen. Poverty is always going to be here. People who are in a better financial state is always going to be here because that's just the world that we live in. But as long as you have an engaged community and encourage people to show them of speaking up, engaging with one another, knowing that what you're saying is incorrect and try to correct it, I believe a difference can be made. The problem is that we're seeing now with the violence that we have in the community is our youth. Unfortunately, shooters are very young now. They're between the ages of 12 and 19. They're getting guns. They're, once again, swapping them out, selling them, wherever they're getting ghost guns or different things. They're fascinated. This is a nature of a generation that are fascinated with guns. I don't know what it is. I don't know if it's because of the video games or just
that could very well play a role. Absolutely.
Whatever it is has triggered the mindset that everyone is just gun happy and they're fascinated. But if we can continue to drive this down, to continue to keep the engagement going, continue to build resources, continue to build with each other, to share information, to come up to collaborative effort amongst all of us, the MDOC, the ceasefires, the department, Michigan State Police, all of us together collectively to figure out what is this that we need to continue to do, what are we not doing, what could we bring to the table to do better, to continue to drive this violence down in the community. And I think as long as we continue on that path of doing it and they see, oh, it's not just waiting for the police to show up. We got CVI groups that's coming now.
Right, absolutely.
We have CVI groups got our patrol in the neighborhoods now. It's not just waiting to see a blue and white car go down the street of a Detroit police officer. You're going to see Detroit 300 patrolling. You're going to see a New Era Detroit. You're going to see a People's Action. You're going to see a Ceasefire. You're going to see a Quincy, a Team Pursuit.
Absolutely.
You're going to see these people out engaged in the community. And as long as that engagement, I believe that will be the driving force to continue to drive the violence down in our community.
My last question for you. How does someone get a hold of you to be part of the solution versus the problem? Are you reachable on social media? If so, share with people, because you might have a young lady out there that may say, hey, I need to reach out to her. How does someone get a hold of you?
You definitely can reach me. I'm on Facebook, all handles. I'm Tamara Liberty Smith on Facebook. I'm Tamara Liberty Smith on Instagram. I am Tamara Smith on TikTok. I am Tamara Liberty Smith on the Detroit Board of Police Commission. My email address is tamara.smith1@detroitmi.gov. And I am Googleable. Look all those informations up and you will find.
Say Google me. Say Google me, huh?
And I just found out today. Look, I don't know if this is a name. I'm Chat GPT-able today.
Okay.
I found that out. I put my name into Chat GPT.
Really?
It's so interesting. I put it in here.
Okay.
And it was about, what do you do if you have a person that's missing? If you're looking for a missing 15-year-old girl, how would you go about finding her? And what would you do? And let me tell you what it said. It's so interesting. I just talked to Quincy. I called him. I said, this is getting unbelievable here. It said that if you have a missing 15-year-old girl, I'm truly sorry to hear about your daughter being missing, and I understand the urgency in seeking assistance. Tamara Liberty Smith is a prominent figure in the city of Detroit who utilizes her platform to aid in locating missing individuals. Tamara Liberty Smith is a social activist and influencer known for her extensive community engagement. She currently serves as the vice chair of the Detroit Board of Police Commissioners for District 1, and the role underscores her commitment to public safety and community welfare. Her involvement in coordinating search efforts and guiding families through challenging times has been her well-documented for existence. She's played a pivotal role in locating a missing 70-year-old woman who had a mild case of dementia, demonstrating her dedication in assisting vulnerable individuals. And it said how you can reach. And I'll go a little bit more. Talked about me working with the Naziah Harris case. I don't know.
Oh, okay. I'm familiar with that. Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Missing 13-year-old. But I'm known for helping. So that was pretty impressive to me. Like, wow.
Absolutely.
You can look me up to know that you can find me for help. So I guess if you want to look too, those Chat GPT seems like they know how to find me too.
No, ain't lying. That's kind of scary.
Yeah, it was kind of very, very scary.
Yeah, when you think about it, that's the world we're graduating to. You know what I'm saying? Hey, it is what it is. So, hey, with that being said, Tamara, thank you so much. You ain't going nowhere. You're sitting right here because we're about to include Miss Tiawanna Rankin into our conversation.
Are you live?
No, we're not live. This is going to be shown next week. But we're live in the studio, of course. But yes, this will air in 2 weeks.
Okay.
Yes. Okay. So don't worry. You're going to get all the information.
Okay, I'm excited.
And I'll make sure that you're going to be pleased with the promo material as well. Take that to the bank. So let's get into this amazing angel that's sitting next to Tamara.
You look at you messed it up.
I know, right at the end. Had it going, and all of a sudden, I want to say Tamara, Lord Jesus. That's why God said, yeah. T, how about T? I ain't going to mess that up. So with that being said, you know what? I've had the pleasure, of meeting my next guest. I was actually invited to attend an event over at one of the lodges over on Finkel, and from an organization, Mothers Keeping Boots on the Ground. And one, they knew I like to ride in my toy called a slingshot. And so they was like, yo, why don't you drive your slingshot up here? Just come on up here, Noodles. We want to see you, blah, blah, blah. I said, okay, not a problem. Beautiful day. Got an opportunity, to meet this young lady. And hearing her story, I was numb, just numb. And then, of course, I believe I met you there as well, right? So I'm like, okay, God, you have me in the presence of like-minded people, okay? So I know if you have me around like-minded people, there's going to be some collaboration come from this. I know it is. but I'm just going to sit back, God, and let you do your work. So let me just share with the viewing and listening audience. Tiawanna Rankin, founder and CEO Justice for Jada Incorporated. Everytown for Gun Safety Survivor Network, official member of the Detroit Pistons, member of Moms Demand Action Michigan chapter. Tiawanna Rankin, enthusiastic commitment for driving positive community outcomes, has found its natural outlet as the CEO of Justice for Jada Incorporated. Justice for Jada was founded after Tiawanna's one and only daughter, Jada, was murdered to senseless gun violence. After her daughter's death, she centered her pain and grief on supporting the well-being of families and individuals and communities that have been victimized by gun violence in the city of Detroit. Tiawanna didn't take her daughter's death as a loss. She came to realize how Jada was making her own legacy and the impact she was leaving at a young age. Jada's ability to help thousands of people in her short life lived will never be forgotten. Jada was unfortunately murdered at the age of 15 years old. Her mother continues to keep Jada's legacy alive. Every year, she honors one young lady with the Jada Rankin prom experience. This day became the prom of her dreams. She also gives away Justice for Jada scholarships. She has a Justice for Jada Scholarship Foundation, which provides over hundreds of scholarships to underprivileged high school students every year in Jada's honor. The pain she carries never stops her from her mission. The idea to turn her pain into purpose was not in her plans because she didn't think she was going to make it in life without Jada. She committed, dedicated, compassionate. She holds a dual master's degree in accounting and minor in finance. She's a manager at a major corporation in the metropolitan area. She's a gun violence advocate. She's fully dedicated to making an impact to other people's lives. And here are some of the things that she has done. She has the Justice for Jada Christmas Night, Justice for Jada Ride for Justice Against Gun Violence, a book fair every child deserves to read, a toy and coat giveaway, Justice for Jada Operation Hope Thanksgiving Edition, and of course, a Detroit Piston basketball night out. Consistently embodying, got a little tongue twisted. Don't worry, we can edit this. It'll get edited. Consistently embodying a fresh, positive perspective where challenges have insinuated parents in a world of darkness. She's one of the first ones out there leading and helping. She remains directly involved with providing resources, information, and empowering others to fight for justice for their loved ones. Justice for Jada is supported by the Detroit City Council, Ceasefire of Detroit, Detroit Mayor Mike Dugan, the Detroit Police Department, Moms Demand Action Michigan Chapter, New Era Detroit, the Detroit Piston Basketball Association, Meyer, Bedrock Detroit, and the Illich Holdings Incorporated. Ms. Tiawanna Rankin, I want to thank you for coming on my show today.
Yes, sir.
You still good? Good?
I'm still good.
You know what? As I said earlier, in our conversations, I look at, feeling your pain. I'm not a parent, but it's, again, when we met, and then when you reached out to me and invited me to attend the Justice for Ride for Jada, and of course, I had ties, to the slingshot community, and you said, hey, maybe you can get some of your slingshot buddies to come on out and participate. Of course, I said, I'm going to be there, take that to the bank, and I showed up. And unfortunately, I couldn't stay for the entire period of time because I had to go to another function, but I was overjoyed when Tiawanna shared with me that some of my slingshot people showed up after I had left. I knew then. I said, you know what? I've got to get off the sidelines. I am just so impressed, and it's hard for me to articulate that when you say you have definitely turned your pain into purpose, it's a testament to who you are and the strength that God has given you. We know there are many mothers that can't come back from losing a child. But you're putting in that work for others. I can tell you now, Jada's smiling. Take that to the bank. I know you know that. Your bio. I mean, give away scholarships. Speak on that, please. How did that come about? What triggered that?
Well, what actually, because Jada was murdered at 15. So 10th grade, she just entered into a 10th grade high school. And at the time, she was going to high school and she was attending college as well. And knowing that being murdered at 15, she was never going to go to prom. As well, she was never going to graduate. I wasn't going to never see her graduate from high school. And because Jada were one of those elite students, Jada carried a 4.1 grade point average. Never missed a day of school. I don't care if it was snow day. She had to be around school. I knew that making sure or ensuring her wishes that another child would be privileged to the education that she was privileged to would just be something that I had to do in her honor, as well as the prom, right? Because every mother prom, we just gonna go all the way out. We got to
Absolutely,
play
yes.
years and years in advance.
Yes.
And because there were no prom for her, I knew that they were, because she had some couple of friends that didn't come from a 2-parent household. And I remember the times where I gave her just everything. And I look at her and be like, why you didn't wear this new something? And she would say, my friends don't have it. Mom, I'm going around them with the latest everything and they don't have it. I don't want to be that person. And I just thought it was just strange. Like, I work hard. And she's like, I get it. It's the time and place to where I can show off.
Right, right.
So they were already talking about who's going to go to which college and who's going to bump with who. And, if she had to get she had to get a job to help the friend that she loved that couldn't make it, that she knew that probably wouldn't make it to college on a full ride scholarship like herself.
Mm-hmm.
So after her murder, I felt like that was something that I need to make happen, to make her understand and know that I wasn't just in the next room ear hustling. I was really understanding her pain just being a 15-year-old. Like, how can you be in pain? You're supposed to be ready to go and ready to enjoy your life. But she was enjoying, she wanted to enjoy other people's life. She wanted to make sure other people had the best of everything. Me as her mother I work for you. Like, I don't work for them.
Right.
But her thing is, no, we got to work for them, Mom. I'm like, yeah, why would we got to do that? And it was times that I would open my garage and it'd be bags of clothes. Like, where are you moving to? She like, no, Ma, I had to bring that clothes home to wash. I'm like, whoa, wait a minute. This is just going too far.
Wow.
But that was who she was. That wasn't who I was. I was she drying. You got one too. But that's who she was.
Yes.
So I felt at that time it was pain. It was painful. But I knew when I dressed these lucky, privileged young ladies in these beautiful gowns and their hair and makeup and everything was just so beautified, I knew that it was a spirit from Jada for me to do. Now, because of that, I do all of that, but I never show up.
Wow.
And they call me and they praise me and they thank me, but I can never, ever go to a prom send-off. Oh. So that's how the Jada Rankin prom experience came. As far as the scholarships, it was just something that I knew she would want them to do because she tutored. She was a captain of the peer-to-peer program.
Oh, wow.
She tutored the special ed after school. I used to wonder, why you not home from school yet? And these are things that she done I had no idea about. So when she would say, Mom, she would call, every day at work and be like, "Can you bring something to eat home?" I'm like, "Do you have lunch at school?" Not knowing that she would skip lunch to go to the resource center to tutor them. So I knew then that I had to make sure that these children who was not educational wise or high GPAs got the scholarships in her honor. So that's how the scholarships began. And because we resided in Macomb County, the scholarships began at her high school. Then the first 2 years I gave them away in Macomb County. But then I realized it is our color that need these scholarships as well. Yes, Jada was murdered in Wayne County, and I knew that I had to do the work in Wayne County.
Okay.
That's how I started assisting and giving away the scholarships in the city of Detroit.
Wow. Definitely an angel. Is there one particular scholarship recipient that comes to mind that of the hundreds and hundreds of scholarships that, you provided, no doubt, to honor your daughter? Is there one particular recipient of a scholarship that just stands out that you want to share with us, possibly?
So I want to say, I don't think it was 19. I think it was 20 or 21 because we were still in the COVID. We were still wearing masks. So the process, the requirements for the Jada Rankin scholarships are you have to carry a 2.5 grade point average. Either you go to trade school or you attend a community college versus a full rad scholarship at a university. And then the other requirement is you write a 500-word essay to tell what your community means to you. At that point, I sent out a massive email and I have a team that go over all of these scholarships. And depending on how much money we raise in our fundraiser, it dictates how many scholarships in the funding amount that we give out.
Correct. Makes sense.
So it was a young lady. Her name was Casey. And she won 1 year of the scholarships along with a couple of other young ladies. And Casey, she sent me her bio, and she was going to Wayne State, and I want to say she was a family of 6 children, and maybe 7, but I want to say 6. And she actually was granted the scholarship. So this was in August. I usually grant them when we do the Riot for Justice Against Gun Violence. So we meet at Jada Rankin Playground, and this was in August. In December, I received a phone call that Casey was murdered.
Oh, God.
Just like Jada.
Mm.
She was with a friend in a car, and someone did a drive-by, mistaken identity, shot up the car. She was in the car with a friend, and Casey was the one that got murdered.
My God, my God, my God.
That scholarships, that is the one that stands out. All of them is appreciative,
Right.
and I love all the children that we grant scholarships to, but Casey is the one that takes me over the edge.
And she was on Christmas Day.
Christmas Day, which was her mother's birthday.
Oh, wow. That's terrible.
Wow.
Was there in the city of Detroit?
Yes.
Wow.
Yeah.
Oh,
There's something taking place that I know is near and dear to you
Yes.
on Friday, April 25th. What's happening on that day?
So April 25th, we are having our 7th annual charity dinner for scholarships. On that day, we raise money, we get sponsors, we sell tickets, and we have it at a big event space. And this year will be at the Hotel Regency of Detroit on West Grand Boulevard. And we will have our annual charity event dinner. We will have our guest speakers. We will grant Power Strength Mothers Awards to the mothers who lost their children, but also is doing the work as well, that turned their pain into purpose. And I think that a lot of people see us and say, oh, it's been 8 years. Oh, yeah, I see her. Or it's been 3 years. Oh, yeah, I seen you out. And that's okay. We're not okay. So I try to continue to have awareness of gun violence. I try to make sure that there are students that still need assistance with scholarships is still being honored by Jada Rankin.
How does someone purchase tickets to the event?
Well, you can actually reach me at 313-208-0898. You can reach me on my Cash App at $Miss Rankin 24. You can reach me at Zelle with my phone number. And you can reach me on social media at Justice for Jada. And you can reach me on social media as Tiawanna Cop.
It's going to be an amazing event because we're definitely putting a call out to some of these corporations to step up and, they have budgets. They can write it off at tax time. We want some of the folks out and, if you work for some of these, corporations, businesses that have funds, what better way to give back by saving lives? So the event is going to be at the St. Regis Hotel.
Yes.
And of course, we know it's going towards a worthy cause. Let me ask you my final question to you. It's a club, of course, no parent wants to be in. If you were speaking at an event and had to give one piece of advice to a mother who has just become a member of an unfortunate club, what would that advice be?
I would tell them, let God wrap your hands around you, because we can't do this by ourselves. I tried it. I was an independent woman. I never wanted nobody. I never needed nobody. I worked every day. I took care of my children. I'm a very involved with my family. We got a close-knit family. It's 26, 7, 8 grandchildren, nieces and nephews. I'm very strong with my family, but I couldn't do it. My family couldn't do it. And the only person that brought me to the point to this day was God. And I get it, A lot of people is angry with God. Why my child? Well, let me say this. At the time Jada got murdered, it was 20 children, young folks out there. And Jada was the only one that got murdered. So yes, I do have that question. Why my child?
Right.
The only reason that I'm here today is because God said he would never forsake us.
Amen to that.
And we're going to be angry because we're human and God understands.
Absolutely.
But you got to let him pour into you, because if you don't, you won't make it. And I know that to be true. And as well, you have to allow yourself to go through the 5 stages of grief.
What are those 5 stages?
You're going to be angry. You're going to be in denial. You're going to be disappointed. You're going to be, you have to be in acceptance. That's kind of the last of the last. Yeah, it's the last of the last. It took me 5 years to accept Jada murder. I used to think she was coming back through my door every day, knowing that I know she wasn't. But once I accepted her murder, then I was able to pour into everyone that I came across that lost a child to gun violence. I don't care if it was a 2-year-old to a 35-year-old. A child is a child. It's a mother's child. So I would tell any mother, it's not about decompressing, because that never really comes, because your child never's coming back. You just have to allow God to come in and do some work. It might not be fast. It might not be when you want it. Because I'm going to be honest, I never thought I would live. Every day I used to say, why am I dead, Chad? I never thought I would make it. I didn't want to make it. And people say, don't you got other children? Absolutely I do. And they have children. And God would have made a way where they would be okay with their children. But my baby and my only daughter left this earth, and I didn't feel a need to be here as long as I am today. But he found a different path for me.
Amen.
And Jada lived through me, and I'm never going to disappoint her.
That's why I told you, I am so glad to be on your team. And I mean that. I mean, my heart goes out to you. You and I are developing a friendship where it ain't nothing but God. We talk smack to one another, and we keep it 100. We keep it real.
And that's I think Tiawanna is an amazing woman.
Yes.
I watch her and I watch how she's an influencer to the mothers who join the club who don't want to be. This is their new now. And
Right.
and they look up to her. And she's like the leader and she's been consistent. It isn't that it was just for show or it was because it was popular at that time. She dives into helping and developing them and showing them what they need to do. So help them through their time of grief. And you're doing an amazing job, sis.
Well, ladies, I want to thank y'all for joining me on Spending Time with Noodles. This has been an impactful show. God is good. You're going to always be in my prayers and my thoughts. And you know me, whatever I can do to be of assistance. Because I know you're a soldier. You're a strong soldier. I know you are. But you definitely got other people out there that's, let's say, willing to be on your team and support you. And we're going to do that on Friday, April the 25th. If we're going to come together as a community, we got to put our money where our mouth is. So with that being said, love, peace, don't need that hair grease. Spin your guy noodles.